What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and the transfer window has closed shut, and we had a lot of American players move this transfer window, and we've got some that have been very good, some we'll have to see, and some that I feel like could be a bit better, but we had a lot of players who went to some really good situations, so I'm going to start with the ones that I think are basically objectively good at this point. Like, maybe things will turn out a bit wrong, but dude, starting things off, we got Tyler Adams and Brenden Aaronson moving to Leeds, and yeah, just a great move. Both went to a manager that they're familiar with in Jesse Marsch. Like, that's obviously a good start, and they've been off to a flying start. They're getting playing time, they've been doing well and impressing, and it just looks like a great situation. They moved to Leeds has paid wonders for both of them. Next, we got Jordan Pefok, who is off to a great start at Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, and man, he's doing very well. Getting playing time as he needs it. He's been providing. He seems to be a lot more well-rounded of a player. I've said before that I didn't think I'd count him as like that good of a player. Like, he wasn't somebody undroppable because we'd only seen his goal scoring, and he'd only really done that at a high level in the Swiss league. But now he's showing that he can do it in a top league in the world, and it's just amazing to see. I think he's forced his way back to the national team with this performance, and it's been a great move for him. Next, we got Malik Tillman moving to Rangers, and it's a bit hard to say that like leaving Bayern Munich when you've actually got a little bit of time for them is a good thing, but he's off to a club that's going to be competing for the Scottish League title in competitive games every week and in the Champions League. He's been getting a lot of playing time. It seems to be valued there, and I think he's going to do wonders for his development. Again, leaving Bayern, it's not like an attractive thing, but I think it's a good decision, and he'll be better for it. Then another just really good move, Ethan Horvath moving to Luton Town. I might have put him in the starting goalkeeper conversation, because at the moment he's the only player in Europe getting consistent playing time. Hopefully Zack Steffen will get back from his injury, but right now it's just Ethan Horvath. And I think it's a great move for him, just getting consistent playing time for the first time in I can't remember how long. Really good for him. I like Luton Town. They're going to be pushing for a promotion spot, hopefully. They were in the playoffs last year. It's a very good move for him. Next, we got some moves that I think are definitely positive, but we're still like up in the air, like if it's going to be good or not for them, because we'll have to see. I just mentioned Zack Steffen. He's playing for Middlesbrough on loan, and he did already pick up an injury and hasn't exactly hit the ground running at Middlesbrough, making a couple of mistakes early on. So I really wouldn't call it a great move yet because he's been pretty bad. Hasn't gone well for him. So I'll have to see if things get better, and they easily could, but at the moment I just can't list as that good. Then we got Sergiño Dest leaving Barcelona to go to AC Milan. That's definitely the right call. Like, it was pretty clear for a while that Xavi didn't rate him, and once you lose the manager's confidence, especially a manager who Barcelona are going to back in Xavi, they want him to be the next Pep Guardiola, so you definitely can see the benefits of leaving that club and going somewhere where you're valued, so I think him going to AC Milan is definitely the right idea. Next, we got Matt Turner going to Arsenal, and I like this move because it's a big step up in quality, but he's not guaranteed the playing time at Arsenal that he would be elsewhere. So it's kind of 50-50, but he's going to be playing at Arsenal. He'll likely be playing in cup games in the Europa League, so I expect he'll have some playing time going into the World Cup, and I think it's going to work out for the best for him. Now, could it go wrong? Could he just not get played in the Europa League at all? Like, it's definitely possible, but I like the move. Then we got Luca de la Torre moving to Celta Vigo, and it's still too early on to say how good the move's going to go. He's barely played at all because he's still getting acclimated to the club, but things are looking pretty positive. I'm expecting it'll do well, and I love the step up in competition. Then we got John Brooks going to Benfica. Very good move for him. Back in the Champions League, playing at a top team. We've seen a couple of really good center backs go to Benfica in recent years, and it seems like some of them are going through injuries. It seems like I think Vertonghen's on his way out, so it's definitely seems like a good move for him. I really hope that he'll get back into the national team, and honestly, even if Berhalter doesn't get him back in, I hope the manager that replaces him will look at John Brooks as somebody valuable, because he clearly is a good player still playing at a high level. And next we got Ricardo Pepi, moving on loan to Groningen in the Netherlands, which I think is definitely a good move for playing time. I mean, I didn't put it in objectively good because it just happened, so we can't say for sure, but it's definitely the right call getting a loan out to Augsburg. And I always see people say, like, oh, he left the MLS too soon. He's not going to play at this club in the Bundesliga. Yeah, and he'll go out on loan. That's what Austin Trusty did, and that's going fine. Like, I don't know this obsession of staying in the MLS. Like, it's fine. Then we got some moves, which we'll see. Can't really say if I don't really like the moves at the moment, but they could end up being good. Haji Wright and Cameron Carter-Vickers staying at their clubs permanently. Haji Wright at Tiraspol and Cameron Carter-Vickers at Celtic. I think they both could have moved to better clubs. I mean, Cameron Carter-Vickers especially, like Champions League, I understand why he wants to stay, but I think they probably could have gone, like, let's say somewhere in England, Haji Wright to the Championship, Cameron Carter-Vickers to a club in the Premier League. I know, man, Bournemouth weren't spending any money, but I know he did play there a while ago, so I think that could have happened, so it's disappointing that he stayed there. They're going to do well, I just think it's below their level of competition. Then Chris Richards going to Crystal Palace. It seems like he's behind two pretty good center backs at the moment. He's been playing a lot of left wing back, which is the worst position on the defensive line for Richards to play. And I got a time, it's like, I'm excited as a Crystal Palace fan because it's a very good backup, but I don't see him taking that spot away from Mark Gahey or Auken Anderson, and maybe he'll play right back eventually. He'll have to take Nathaniel Klein or Joel Ward's spot, which is going to be tough to begin with. But it's not looking the best right now. And Gabriel Slonina going to Chelsea. I've talked about this before. It could work out, and like the potential benefits are huge. And from like a selfish National League perspective, like him getting out of the way at Chicago means Chris Brady can start, and he's probably our second best goalkeeper prospect. So I'm fine with the move. I can see the positives, but we know what the Chelsea loan army can do to people. Like, it's gone bad before. We can see the horror show that could be. And yeah, it's all the big moves that happened. I'm not talking about MLS trades. Like, it is what it is. Pulisic probably should have left Chelsea. A bit disappointed he couldn't go to Newcastle. But on the plus side, Tuchel's probably getting fired pretty soon, so I don't think it'll end up mattering that much anyway. Be good to see him under the new manager. Maybe that's why the owners refused to let him go. Like, I can rationalize that, but it would have been good, especially right before the World Cup, to have him get out of Chelsea. But yes, I'll talk about a lot of good moves, and I think American players are going to end up better for it. That's all I'll talk about. See ya.